All right, let's jump right in. Today we're doing a deep dive into First John.
Oh, First John.
Yeah, it's one of those books in the New Testament that
Hmm.
it's kind of it's a letter,
Right.
but we're going to treat it kind of like a book.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of get a concise summary
Fine.
of the whole book.
Uh,
So, you know,
Sounds good.
obviously we're not going to be able to go over every single verse and
Oh,
every
yeah.
single, point.
Of course.
But we're going to try to hit all of the major themes
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
important messages,
Mhm.
so people can kind of get a grasp of the essence of the book.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So first of all,
Mm.
it's a letter, right?
It is. It is a letter. It's not like a narrative or a story like you might find in some other parts of the Bible.
Right.
It's actually written to a specific community of early Christians.
Okay.
And but even though it was written for them like so long ago,
Its messages are still
Yeah.
really powerful and relevant to us.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, if you had to like boil it down
Yeah.
to the central theme
Okay.
of First John, what would you say that is?
Well, I think the book really hinges on the idea that God is both light and love.
Mm.
This idea, it just kind of runs through the entire text, and
Yeah.
it forms the basis really for everything else
No.
that the author talks about.
And that's not just theoretical, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's like he
Thoughts.
talks about how we need to live
Yeah.
in the light, right?
Yeah.
And how we need to walk in love.
Yeah.
And how we need to reject darkness,
Absolutely.
which I guess would be sin, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's very practical.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's about putting these qualities into action.
Yeah. It's about aligning our lives
Right.
with the very nature of God.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is light and love. Okay. So one thing that really kind of stuck out to me in First John was this whole idea of love.
Okay.
He talks a lot about that.
He does. Yeah, it's a really big theme.
And not just like, a general kind of love,
Right.
like love thy neighbor kind of thing.
Right.
But he really emphasizes loving one another,
Yeah. Yeah.
like other Christians, right?
Absolutely. He's really specific about that.
Okay.
It's about loving fellow believers
Okay.
as a core part of what it means to be a Christian.
Right.
It's not just a nice thing to do.
Okay.
It's like a defining characteristic of genuine faith.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So he also talks a lot about assurance of salvation, right?
Yeah, he does touch on that.
So how can we know, like, that we're really saved?
Yeah, that's a question a lot of people ask.
Right.
And First John, it gives us several kind of tests for genuine faith.
Okay.
And it's not to make us anxious or
Yeah.
anything like that, but it's more to provide us with confidence
Right.
and clarity.
Gotcha.
So, for example, one of the things he talks about is obedience to God's commands,
Okay.
and he connects this to love. He
Right.
says, if we love God,
Right.
we'll keep His commandment.
Okay, so it's not about earning salvation, right?
Exactly.
It's more about the fact that
Yeah.
if we truly love God,
Yeah.
then we're going to naturally want to obey him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about a changed heart, really.
Right.
It's about a relationship with God that leads to a changed life.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing he talks about is this whole idea of
Yeah.
false teachers,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And people who are distorting
Yeah.
the message of Christ.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, that's a big one.
yeah, and this feels especially relevant today,
Yeah.
like with so many different interpretations
Yeah, for sure.
of Christianity out there.
Right, exactly. And First John, it really highlights the importance of discernment, right?
Mhm.
Being able to tell the difference between truth
Right.
and falsehood.
Yeah.
And one specific example that he gives
Yeah.
is the denial of Jesus's divinity.
Mm.
So he warns against people who might claim to follow Christ,
Right.
but they reject
Right.
his true nature as God.
Right. Right.
So this is like a powerful reminder
Yeah.
to really carefully examine
Mm.
different teachings and make sure that they line up
Right.
with the core truths of the gospel.
So think about that
Yeah.
for a minute. Like in your own life,
Yeah.
have you ever encountered a teaching or an interpretation
Right.
of Christianity
Yeah.
that just didn't sit right with you?
Yeah.
And how did you figure out whether it was true or
Yeah.
not?
That's a great question.
serious stuff about false teachers and holding on to truth.
Right.
It doesn't end
Yeah.
on a downer, right?
No.
Like it ends on a very positive note.
It does. Yeah. It's actually really encouraging. The letter ends with this message of hope and encouragement. It's reminding us that, even though we might face challenges,
Right.
we can have this unshakable confidence
Right.
in God's love and his ultimate victory.
So that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
even when things are, tough,
Yeah.
we can still hold on to hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the message.
Okay, great. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into 1 John,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
If you had to sum up
Yeah.
the message
Okay.
of the entire letter
All right.
of 1 John
Yeah.
in one sentence,
Okay.
what would it be?
And how does that
Yeah.
connect with your own life?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. So we're gonna leave you to ponder that.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.